Hello and welcome to my home practice tutorial number 8. So what we're going to do in this tutorial is I'm going to show you how to build a levels guide, so that's like building a sequence to your level of experience using my 108 Asana cards. So previously in my other tutorials I've kind of helped you to get comfortable with moving on your mat. Now we're going to get really specific in just building freely from the cards, and this is where you start to kind of get to know, well, it can be as simple as what poses you really feel like practicing, or what poses that you need to practice in terms of your energy levels, your mood, and you get used to recognising which poses do certain things. And there's also a guide in the box that tells you specific families of poses and what their benefits are, which will kind of help you to build practices to your needs as well. Okay, so I'm coming to my mat and I want to build a practice for myself. And I want to practice with my level of experience, and I'm a level 1, so kind of just starting out, or a beginner, or just someone who wants to take a nice gentle flow. I'm going to get my cards ready. I'm going to have out in front of me the benefits list, a sample of a levels guide sequence there, just to give me a little bit of help, and the sun salutation if I want to add that into the practice too. Always good to have that out. So the sample sequence guide will give you kind of just a building blocks to, first line, bit of a warm-up, second line, some standing poses, third line, seated and restorative or shavasana, always shavasana. So I have my cards in front of me. Also, let's say I'm feeling a little bit anxious or just a little bit stressed, and I want something that's going to address that. So I look through my benefits list here and I realise that back bends will help me to kind of just, get a little bit over this, or it's definitely a pose that gives you a bit of energy and eases the nervous system. So I'm going to, while I'm looking through my level 1 cards, I will just keep an eye out for the little back bend symbol at the top there, and see is there 1 or 2 back bends that I can add into my sequence. Most of the back bends will be in the second batch in your box there. There's a full back bend section, and in fact there is a level 1 that I would like to put into my sequence. It's a lovely back bend, and Shalabhasana locus. So we're definitely going to add that in somewhere into our practice, and we can even add it in a few times through our practice if it's one that we're kind of trying to focus on, that is something that you're trying to address and tailoring to your needs. So cat-cow, always a good way to start your practice. I also have a tutorial on completely on warm-ups, because you can warm up lying down on your back, you can warm up in a cat-cow position, seated or standing. So there's 3 different ways to warm up, and these are extra little things that you'll get from the tutorials that is kind of hard to put into the pack like this. It's just flowing with the body and warming up all the joints. And just think of it like you're trying to warm up each of the joints of your body, and by warming up each of the joints, you've kind of warmed up the surrounding muscles as well. So think starting with your feet or starting with your head and just going through joint, ankle, knees, hips, spine, shoulders, neck, arms, wrists, just everything gets a little bit of movement before you start to flow. Okay, so that's one that we want to add in. We put cat-cow there, and then I'm just going to go through the cards. That's another lovely pose there. Heart chakra pose, Anahastasana, and it's also a back bend. And I literally I'm going to go through, I'll take out Tadasana, using Tadasana as well to come up to the top of your mat and take a nice Tadasana, and then come into your next pose. So in tutorial number 7, I show you how to build a sequence coming into the poses through sun salutations. And the other way to do it is to simply come to Tadasana and step back into your next chosen pose. And probably just a much more simpler way to look at it if you don't want to get involved with too much to sun salutations and transitionings. Let's see. Then we will maybe come into downward dog next. So now we've stepped back and we're going to come into our standing poses. So let's start with just a low lunge, and then bring our arms up, or level 1s. And then you might want to lift that knee up and then bring the arms up there. So that's your first standing flow, and you can even separate those two and do one flow, or you can do them all together, depending how many you want to thread together. Always stepping with the right foot forward first, and then coming back to downward dog, and then stepping the left foot forward. So we always go with the right foot forward first. Again, you'll find all these in my earlier tutorials. Okay, and then say for our second standing flow, this is where we add in, actually, before we come to our second standing flow, we do this mini flow here, and then we come back to downward dog, and then we do something to break up the mini flows. So I might come all the way down to the ground and take a few rounds of locust salabhasana. And that's literally just holding it for, say, 3 breaths, coming down, resting your forehead on your hands, and then coming into it again, or as many breaths as you want to take. You have to remember, with home practice, you're the boss, so try not to get flustered with, is this right, is this wrong? It's whatever feels right for you is right. Okay, so we are in our warrior now. And then there's only one downward dog card, but that's the linking pose that links a lot of things together, Artadasana. So there are your 2 linking poses. We're going to come into reverse warrior there, and then we can come into side angle, and then maybe a forward fold. So again, forward folds, I can see there from my benefits list. Forward folds are also very good for any levels of stress and anxiety. They're very calming and relaxing. So we do all that with the right leg forward, and then we come back, maybe take a downward dog, and then do it with the left leg forward. So there you have 2 standing flows. We're ready to come down to the ground now. See, warm up, standing, seated ground. So there's loads of different options there for you in the cards. Some of them are going to the level 2s there. We also have tree pose. You could add tree pose at the end just to complete your standing sequence. Then probably just coming down to the ground through squash. Okay, that's all the cards from that batch. So you're going to come through a few seated poses. So I always like to take, if I can find it, Dandasana at the start of seated flow. It's kind of like Tadasana. It's like sets the foundations for the following poses. So it sets the spine up nice and tall. It sets the sit bones grounded into the ground, and from that foundation we can take our poses. So let's take Marishasana. And then maybe we'll take a forward fold, another forward fold. So that's Janu Shirshasana. So this leg simply drops out to the side and we take it into a forward fold. So again, forward folds, forward bends, back bends, and we've split them up. So we haven't come into any very strong back bends, and we're not kind of moving from back bend to forward bend too often. Okay, so then we are kind of ready to come down to the ground and come onto our backs. And we might like to take another back bend, a bridge pose. And then it's always nice to finish your practice with just, knees into the chest. So just hugging the knees into the chest there, or even happy baby. What's going on there? And then definitely Shavasana. Okay, so that's a levels guide flow. So that will, it's kind of hard to tell how long it will take you, because it kind of depends whether you're just moving with one breath or whether you're going to stay in each pose for a few breaths. And that's, again, completely up to you. So if you want to stay in each pose for a lot longer and keep this really simple, take out the entire first standing flow and just go straight into this flow and take the back bend there, and then come into some seated flows, another back bend, and your restorative and your Shavasana. So just, if you're just starting off the cards, keep it as simple as possible. You might just take out an extra few. Let's take out this one. Maybe you can take out happy baby, we'll come straight into it. There you go. So just, less overwhelming when there's less cards in front of you. So what I would do is I literally will lay them out at the top of the mat and flow through them. And that's as simple as it gets. So that's how you build to a level guide with the cards. If you have any questions, I'm always happy to answer. You can catch me at yogaru.ie. You can check the website out. There's always loads of articles up there. There's one about how to build a home practice and loads of ways to help you to get moving on your mat. Okay, thank you.